Well, hello there, Retro PC Derm. It's Chris here. We've got double trouble today. That's right. So, thanks to a donation from Rob in Whitby, who's donated a couple of machines and fixed up some of them. And these two machines came together and they were set up. I'm not sure if someone was maybe using them as like home servers or something. But at any rate, they needed quite a bit of cleanup and refurbishment. But what I was able to do is create almost like twin machines. So almost identical parts in both machines. So they'll be able to go out and do the same work. And I figured, if I put them together that way, might as well do a video with them together. So we've got these beige cases here. They're older style cases, obviously. They still have spots for floppy drives. They've got this cheesy front door here for your USB ports on the front of the machine. If I flip around to the back, we've got our two. We start to see, a couple other differences here in terms of the back. We've got our two power supplies. They are, not identical power supplies. The motherboards here, I believe, are identical though. So we've got our, older style. You can see these are older style boards. Still have parallel ports on them, USB ports, Ethernet, and then we've got two discrete graphics cards. So I'm going to pop the lids off of these and we're going to take a top-down view of both of them at the same time. Okay, so top-down view, I've got to hold the camera up here a little bit higher to be able to get the view of both at the same time. We have both of these machines with identical Asus P5L-MX system boards. These are LGA 775, which means we're going to have Core 2 Duo processors in here. And then the rest of the installation here, we do have a discrete graphics cards in here. Both of these, or I think one of them is they're both PCIe graphics cards. And then we've got a pair of 3.5-inch hard drives for each. I installed floppy disk drives in both of them. I'm not that they're ever going to get used again, but I figured might as well have the space to use. I've got the floppy drives available and the board and the case supports it. And then we've got optical drives in both of these. I decided to take advantage of the fact that we did support still IDE on these systems to use IDE optical drives in here. I don't really ever see that the performance difference between a SATA optical drive and an IDE optical drive, for the times that people are actually still going to use them, that it really doesn't matter all that much. You're already going to be slow enough as it is from the drive itself in terms of its maximum speed. So that is what it is. So I'm going to get these set up now, and we're going to see if we can have both of them up and running on the workbench at the same time to take a look at tech specs and all that stuff. Well, we are definitely taking up the full workspace here. We've got everything set up here with our two towers. I've got an LG Flattron monitor here, and then a BenQ FP937S, two older monitors here. We've got some beigey colored accessories here. This old Packard Bell PS2 keyboard, and then we do have a newer Microsoft USB mouse, and then we've got a True Touch, I don't know, some no-name brand, another PS2 keyboard, which looked like it had never been used before. And it still has like the plastic wrap on the cable. And then another Microsoft optical mouse here as well. I think it might be like in Telemouse Pro 3 or something like that. Anyways, we've got both machines up and running. And I figured what I might do is try to creep in here and push the power buttons at the exact same time and see if we can do like a boot off or something like that. Okay, so let's try the boot off. I'm gonna get in front here and I'm gonna go ready. 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go. Now we're going to watch the boot off. Oh wait, I forgot to turn on the monitors. Okay, the monitors are on now. The monitors are on. Let's see how things go. This monitor is not... This BenQ monitor is not looking happy. Or is it looking happy? Maybe it was just... Ooh. Okay. That monitor may be toast. What do you think, guys? What do you think? It's entirely possible that this monitor is not good or the graphics card. Well, the graphics card was working fine. You know, as far as it goes, though, the one on the right here, even though these specs of these machines are, I'm pretty sure, supposed to be exactly the same, the one on the right is booting up a lot faster than the one on the left. So, I don't know, maybe a Windows update or something wasn't finished in time for whatever reason. Both the machines are booted up here. So, yeah, I'm going to take a quick look at the screen here and figure out if it's toast or if there's something wrong with something else. And then we're going to take a look at the hardware specs of these machines side by side. The BenQ monitor was toast. So that had to be put aside. I did some testing on that one, and yeah, it is finito, so it's not going to be moving on. I pulled in this Acer slightly wider screen. It's a 1440 by 900 resolution versus the 1280 by 1024 resolution of the kind of squarish monitor. So we've got hardware info up and running on both of these machines, so we can take a look at the specs. On the left, we have a Core 2 Duo E2180. That's a dual core, non-hyper-threaded, about 2 gigahertz max speed, and that's paired with an HD 5450 series processor, or GPU, sorry, with 1 gig of memory, and we've got 3 gig of RAM total. That's a 1 gig stick and a 2 gig stick in there, with an 80 gig hard drive and our DVD RAM. On the right, we have a Core 2 Duo 2160, which is maxed out at 1.8 gigahertz. With a 160 gig hard drive, we've got a pair of DVD RAM drives or a DVD rewriter, something like that. Anyways, there wasn't a slot cover, so I had to put another drive in on that one. And then we have an HD 6450 with 512 megabytes of RAM and 3 gig worth of memory in total for the system. So pretty close. But I'd say the one on the right is probably a little bit less in terms of performance, right? It's a slightly lower, right? It's one tick down in terms of the processor from a E2180 to 2160, 2 gigahertz to 1.8 gigahertz. And then there's a 5450 and a 6450. So it's, you know, one generation newer of the same crappy, well, no, it's the same. It's a Cedar Pro and a Caicos Pro. So it's, you know, slightly different. But, you know, one slightly, you know, supposed to be a faster, but it's not really faster and it's got less memory. So I would say this is probably the slower machine. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do our CrabRave test. I only have one Ethernet run to my workbench here. Unfortunately, you know, just time and money being the main thing, being able to get all the equipment that I would love to have for a workbench, I don't have a switch at the workbench to be able to plug in multiple machines at once. And I usually only work on one system at a time anyway, so it usually doesn't matter. At any rate, we only have one Ethernet run, so I'm going to plug in this machine, and we're going to do CrabRave on this one, and assume that if it runs okay on this one, it has to run okay on this one, because it's got a better processor, and, you know, I don't know, pretty much the same video card with a little bit extra memory, which shouldn't really make a difference for running a YouTube video. So let's take a look at that. All right, we've got CrabRave set up here. 720p seems like the, you know, appropriate resolution for an older Core 2 Duo processor. We got this thing buffered up. We're going to see how it runs. And you can see already we got a little bit of a halt there. We're dropping about 10% of frames. So, you know, it's pretty slow. Yeah, it's pretty slow. I would say if we dropped down to 480p on this, we would most likely see a much improved performance. Obviously, the quality is going to be a lot lower as a result. It's going to seem a little bit blurry. The viewport here is, you can see here, 1440 by 810. But, you know, the quality comes out pretty good. So on the other machine, you know, to the left here, I would expect that we get the same or better performance, which I've had machines that I've donated out before that 480p is kind of the performance you're going to get, which, you know, if you're going to be running a Zoom meeting or something like that, not having the highest quality isn't going to be the end of the world. And yeah, the job's going to get done, and the machine's going to be able to handle your other web browsing productivity tasks with reasonable level of effectiveness as well. So that's our look at these double trouble machines here. They are what they are. Had a little bit of a challenge with the monitor dying that I was going to be using, but we did have a spare here to go out. So these machines are ready for donation. I hope that you enjoyed going down this little path with me, watching this video and sharing these machines with you is a real passion of mine. So I really enjoy doing it, and I'm glad that you enjoy watching them as well. I hope, as always, you are staying safe and healthy, and we'll catch you in the next one.